Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
Cook Inlet Tug and Barge, a marine transportation company specializing in harbor services focusing on the Port of Anchorage and the major commercial participants in the Cook Inlet region, providing customers with marine services specifically tailored to their needs.
The National Weather Service.
Hello everyone, and thanks again for joining us for another edition of Alaska Weather. On the warning advisory map, we've got a winter weather advisory out for the upper Kobuk and Noatak valleys, including Ambler, Kobuk, and Shugnook. That's for 4 to 8 inches of snow to fall. That's out for tonight and tomorrow, and snow probably will linger into tomorrow evening as well, but 4 to 8 inches expected to fall there. Otherwise, there's another winter weather advisory here for the Kuskokwim Delta, Nunivak Island, Bethel, Hooper Bay, and Nunivak Island for 2 to 4 inches of snow to fall with visibilities reduced to a half mile or less at times. And that'll be along the coast where the winds are strongest. And that's out from midnight tonight until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and then conditions will improve. Yesterday we had low pressure here over the northern Bering Sea, near the Bering Strait there, just north of St. Lawrence Island, and fair amount of moisture with that. Another system down here south of Kodiak Island developing and moving northward. That brought the storm force winds to Kodiak last night and early today. Those are gradually coming down with the rain. It picked up about half an inch of rain at Kodiak State Airport in the last 24 hours. And then some showers here along the North Gulf Coast. Not a bad day over the Panhandle. And then a system entering the far western Bering Sea. You can see today that front moved pretty rapidly to the east with a good jet stream pushing it along, beginning to slow down here along the as it approaches the coast due to south to north winds, and the low center hanging way back out there to the west, but some good gale force winds coming around that center into the western Aleutians for tonight and tomorrow. And the system that brought all the snow to the Arctic coast yesterday and actually into today, pulling off to the north there, and that's giving way to some clear skies over the north slope, and a lot of sunshine here through the eastern interior from just south of Arctic Village all the way down into south central Alaska, where there was some mid and high level clouds here south of the Alaska Range dimming the sun at times, but pretty nice day nonetheless. And then this system here already falling apart after it wound up. You can see the common shape to the cloud formation. It just kind of starts to melt away here. Still expected to bring gale force winds to the central and south coast of the Panhandle, with rain spreading into mainly the southern areas and lesser amounts up to the north. On the chart today, rain just about reaching the southern southeast coast. Earlier today, the whole system still out over the southern Gulf of Alaska. Had some showers traveling from east to west here in the flow on the north side of that. Coming in across the southern Kenai Peninsula, looked like they were crossing southern Cook Inlet in toward Iliamna and that area a little bit there. Otherwise, high pressure and the sunshine over the interior, and then snow early on there at Barrow. They picked up about 3 inches, I believe, with 10 inches on the ground this afternoon. And areas of snow here, snow showers with this trough here over the Buckland, over the Kobuk Valley, back out toward Kotzebue carrying snow much of the day. Snow showers down across the Seward Peninsula to St. Lawrence Island. And then that front coming eastward here, just west of Nikolsky this afternoon, rain and snow reaching the Pribilof, starting out as snow, changing over to rain, but only 0.08 of an inch water equivalent falling there. Heavier amounts down toward Dutch Harbor and Nikolsky, and then showers and gusty southwest winds farther back with the main low center. For tonight, you'll see this front spreads rain across the southern southeast coast. Not too bad up to the north, just some variable clouds and dry conditions there, with the gales out this evening for the central coast, gales out most of the night for the south coast, but those will begin to diminish even there probably on toward early tomorrow morning. Then some line of showers here, snow showers, as this front slows down as it approaches the southwest coast. Again, it's running into where it becomes parallel with the wind flow, south and north winds here. So it's really slowing down with rain over the Alaska Peninsula. Chance of rain, again, toward midnight and after here for the southwest coast. That's what the advisory is out for. And then the snow advisory up here over the Kobuk Valley for the 4 to 8 inches expected for tonight and through tomorrow. And we'll see tomorrow still a fair amount of snow showers up there in the northwest. The front stalled out along the coast here. So every areas of rain and snow across the southwest interior, rain over the Alaska Peninsula, mixed rain and snow showers following in behind over the Pribilof Islands. And generally high pressure aloft, keeping it quite nice here through the central and eastern interior. Just variable clouds again from Prince William Sound all the way up to the eastern Arctic coast and North Slope areas, with those snow showers continuing up here for at least another, well, probably into tomorrow evening. And then the gale force northwesterlies and gale force westerlies here with the rain and snow showers over the central and western Aleutians. Some of those showers will reach the Pribilof Islands, but the winds will be less than gale force tomorrow from the south and southeast. And then showers here over the southern panhandle. Nicest weather up to the north, staying dry, missing out on this system altogether as it breaks into two centers, one pulling into British Columbia, the other one hanging off the coast there south of the Queen Charlottes. And then for Friday, this front really weakening. Best chance of rain, Kodiak Island, Bristol Bay mixture here across the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta areas, maybe the southern Kuskokwim Valley areas, but no wind at all in association with this. Really slack gradient, and the precipitation pretty discontinuous as well along that front. This is just the best chance of seeing any. All the gradient now back on the back side of this low center there near Cold Bay, northwesterlies 25 to 35, maybe gusts 40, 45 miles an hour. Rain and snow showers coming down over the central Aleutians and extending back up toward the Russian coast. But North Slope looks clear, fair, VFR along all of the Arctic coast. Friday, both tomorrow and Friday. Very good, nice conditions, lots of sunshine over the interior with light winds, Copper River Basin, sunny. Could see a few afternoon showers developing over the Wrangell Mountains here and also up over the eastern interior from Tok northway up to possibly Eagle, but those widely scattered to isolated, and the same pattern here over the southeast coast. Chance of showers, scattered showers over the southern areas, just isolated up here to the north, and that's about it. Weak high pressure making for northwesterly breezes there along the coast of 10 to 15 miles an hour, and that's about it. Temperatures down that way this afternoon were in the mid to upper 40s. Stewart, though, here reached 50 degrees this afternoon. Sitka had 46 with a 45 at Elfin Cove. Skagway pushed up to 49 and 47 at Yakutat. Cordova 45. Valdez pushed up to 43, and Gulkana there in the Copper River Basin reported a temperature of 42 degrees, 44 at Northway, same thing at Delta. Fairbanks 47 with Healy 40 degrees, 46 at Talkeetna, 48 in Anchorage, and about the same in Kenai, 49 at Homer, 42 in Kodiak with Akiak up to 46. Farther to the north, not too bad in the Copper River Basin with 45 at Fort Yukon, and down near freezing there, Arctic Village at 32. Anatuvik at 2,100 feet reporting 30 degrees, and 40 though down at Bettles in the Koyukuk Valley. Eastern Arctic slope there, or eastern Arctic coast, Kaktovik at 32 degrees, about 10 degrees cooler over at Barrow, 22 at Point Lay, 31 at Kotzebue with snow, and also 31 reported at Deering. 23 degrees at Northway with temperatures in the mid to upper 30s here over the lower and mid Yukon and Kuskokwim River Valley areas. Still upper 20s along the Yukon Delta coast, 34 at Macoriac, and out to the west, looking mostly in the lower 40s for the Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutians, mid 40s for Adak and Atka, and then colder 36 out at Shimia. Same thing at St. Paul, and 37 at St. George. Lows for tonight in the teens here across the Copper River Basin and along the Alaska Range, otherwise 20s to lower 30s here over south central Alaska, 30 to 35 or so here over the Bristol Bay coastline and the Alaska Peninsula, mid 30s for the Aleutians, lower 30s for the Pribilofs, lower 20s for St. Lawrence Island. Arctic coast, lows mostly in the teens, 10 to 15 there, a little warmer on the west side, and then 20s down south of the mountains, south of the Brooks Range, into the Kobuk and Koyukuk Valley areas with teens and 20s here for the Seward Peninsula. And for the highs tomorrow, upper 40s to mid 50s here across the Panhandle, with mid to upper 40s over the Copper River Basin, lower 50s areas of south central Alaska. Temperatures pushing into the 50s here over a fairly large area, the upper Yukon Valley down to Fairbanks. Some areas might even be approaching 60 degrees in the afternoon, with the North Slope not too bad, pushing into the mid to upper 20s there, mid 30s over the northwest, and 40s here over the southwest, and even the coast now getting up above freezing. St. Paul forecast high 39, lower 40s out over the central Aleutians. Flying weather with that front easing its way into the southwest coast, and then with that leftover moisture from that trough that's bringing the snow advisories out for the Kobuk Valley there. Look for marginal VFR possibly making its way up to the western Alaska Range, with IFR in the upslope areas, Kodiak Island, the Aleutian Range, Kilbrook Mountains and the hills up there farther to the north, and then a break behind the front, and then more marginal VFR, IFR, Pribilofs on down toward Adak and Atka, with more breaks behind that. For the passes, Anatuvik looks VFR, will be VFR, either approach, same thing for Adigan, VFR, both tomorrow. Both those passes VFR tomorrow and Sunday. Lake Clark and Merrill, occasionally marginal at times on either approach, rainy, marginal VFR. Windy though, looks open, either approach there, north and south. Isabel, VFR conditions, and Formentasta looks VFR, north and south approach. East and west of Tanita, both VFR through the pass. Portage, good VFR tomorrow, and Chilkoot and White, VFR with all the moisture way down to the south. Looking at freezing levels, a pocket of warmer air here, but only 2,000 feet up over the North Gulf Coast areas. Otherwise, that way down to the south and then kind of bending back up there just east of the Panhandle. At the surface across the northern Panhandle, North Gulf Coast areas, northern Bristol Bay, up now north of the Pribilofs there with that southerly wind pushing that up farther to the north, but 2,000 feet still down south of the Aleutians. Icing threats of rime varieties of the light to isolated moderate types here along that front as it stalls out along the coast and links up with the moisture here, that system up over the northwest. But that'll extend down and then spread in toward Kodiak Island, and then just scattered mixed rime icing at a lower elevation here, freezing level to 8,000 feet out to the west, and pretty icing free everywhere else, even over the southeast coast, much of the central, eastern interior, all of the central and eastern interior icing free from the Gulf of Alaska all the way to the Arctic coast. Upper level wind flow chart, here's that low with the system coming across the Bering Sea, and then the one cutting in and going well to the south of the southeast coast there. But the south to north flow, that's what's going to stall that front out along the coast here as it edges into that actually from now through tonight and tomorrow, and actually even into Sunday, that southerly flow keeping that front right about along the coastline there as it dissipates over the next couple of days. At 9,000 feet, south to north winds 20 to 35 knots here across the Alaska Peninsula western interior, all the way up and off the Arctic coast there. Stronger winds with the main low center northwest 45, turning westerly at 40 across the central Aleutians, then dying back a little bit across the Fox Islands and Alaska Peninsula. Pretty light winds here along the North Gulf Coast, and south 20 to 25 here over the eastern interior. Easterlies 10 to 15 there for the southeast coast, and pretty light offshore breezes here for the Panhandle, really light and variable would sum it up better. Easterly to variable 0 to 10 knots over southern Alaska, pick it up to about 15, but the stronger winds out here, again, southerly flow 25 to 35 knots along the west coast, and then westerlies at 40 knots for the central Aleutians, northwest 45 knots farther out to the west. And taking a look at turbulence, occasional moderate chop here for the Fox Islands, Adak and Atka, as well as Shimir with those gusty winds. Then areas of light to isolated moderate turbulence here for the Seward Peninsula down to the Nulato Hills, Kilbrook Mountains, the Kuskokwim and the Aleutian Range, Alaska Peninsula, and possibly some mechanical turbulence up along the Brooks Range, but smooth for the Panhandle, the North Gulf Coast, and just about all of the central and eastern interior, as well as the Arctic coast. And after the break, I'll be back to look at the ice edge and the marine forecasts.
This is only a drill.
Emergency responders continue to address environmental impacts
From the 800-foot container ship aground on Elbow Reef in the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary.
Every year, NOAA responds to thousands of natural and human-induced incidents threatening life, property, and natural resources. During such incidents, NOAA is mandated to protect natural resources, provide weather data, and chart navigable waterways. To better fulfill this mission, NOAA conducted the first Safe Sanctuaries exercise in April of 2005 to bring together NOAA resources and expertise with other agencies for a hypothetical oil spill in the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary.
Briefly, the situation is, as we know,
The planning unit calls in NOAA's Navigation Response Team. The reef bottom surrounding the wreck site is variable and difficult to navigate, especially for large vessels. So the Navigation Response Team uses a sophisticated side-scan sonar that creates real-time, high-resolution images of the sea floor. After mapping several transects, the strips are mosaicked together into a map. The map can then be coupled with marine charts and enables the planning unit to develop a salvage plan that will be the least disruptive to the sanctuary's sensitive environment. As information on the oil's fate becomes clearer, the Scientific Support Coordinator prepares shoreline characterization and assessment teams to evaluate shoreline impacts. These assessment teams include members from state and federal agencies and the responsible party, some of whom have never measured effects of an oil spill before. To standardize the assessment team efforts, NOAA runs training for the team members before they go into the field. Given the potential spill trajectories, the Scientific Support Coordinator deploys teams on 2 locations along Key Largo's eastern shore. They specifically record percent cover of oil on affected beaches and wildlife that has been oiled, such as seabirds or turtles. Returning to the command post, the assessment team leader presents the team findings to the environmental unit.
The northernmost area is where we saw the heaviest hit by oil, and it was along.
Also on scene is one of NOAA's Natural Resource Damage Assessment teams. This team collaborates with other groups from the Department of the Interior and State of Florida to work most effectively with the responsible party. This damage assessment team sends out assessment experts and sanctuary divers. They gather information on the natural and cultural resources that were harmed and at risk from the ship grounding and oil spill. Historical and cultural resources impart important knowledge of maritime history in the region. In this incident, the Portsmouth trader ran aground on a 1917 wreck, the City of Washington.
Due to the oil spill, we were only able to assess the injury to the anchor damage that occurred, and we found 2 anchor scars.
A marine archaeologist from the sanctuary evaluates the injury to the City of Washington, as it represents a significant historic site and is listed on the Florida Keys Shipwreck Trail. Using information provided by the Navigation Response and Damage Assessment teams, the Unified Command develops the best strategy to extricate the trader and avoid further injury to both the reef and the historical wreck. The Portsmouth Trader exercise also provides an important opportunity for NOAA to evaluate and improve its response and safety procedures. To check the accuracy of the oil trajectory model and provide another set of observations to understand surface currents in the Florida Keys, 2,000 wooden drift cards were released near the grounding site. The reef structure, tidal currents, Gulf Stream, and winds make this area tricky to predict currents, and over the next 2 days, oceanographers monitor the drift card movement. In this case, these biodegradable cards move straight into the mangroves along Key Largo's eastern shore, confirming the trajectory model outputs created earlier in the response.
The public is reminded to avoid touching the oiled areas or wildlife due to human health concerns and possible wildlife injury.
Throughout a spill response, public safety is also a key concern. NOAA sends out an all-hazards radio broadcast, warning people of natural and man-made disasters. The Safe Sanctuaries exercise and real groundings like it represent continuing risks to our coral reefs, shorelines, and marine resources. NOAA recognizes these threats and continually develops and tests effective response plans to protect life, commerce, and our natural and cultural resources.
it's never going to come out good. I mean, it's always bad because somebody loses, but it can come out better if everybody's working together. If you got a cooperative RP, if you got, you know, the Coast Guard is being able to play the role they need to play, if all the state agencies and the local communities are able to play the roles they can play. If NOAA gets to play the role we can play, then you bring everything together, people cooperate, and it'll come out less bad than it could otherwise.
Welcome back with the Ice Edge, about 20 to 30 nautical miles north of St. Paul Island there. And with the southerly winds of today and tomorrow, they'll be pulling back to the north. And then tomorrow night and Friday, those northerly winds return and continue through Saturday and into Saturday night. And so by early Sunday, it'll probably pull it back to about this position. So still not expecting any ice to make landfall on the north shore of St. Paul, at least at this point in time. And for tonight, for tomorrow, well, gales tonight here this evening. Gales this evening for the central coast, gales tonight for the south coast, and then tomorrow, east to northeast here, 20-25 knots, and then northerly 20 on the north coast, and the far north coast there, lighter northwest breeze. Northerlies up to 25 knots here for Lynn Canal and Glacier Bay, north 20 for Stevens Passage, and for Clarence Straits, easterlies at about 15 with seas running 3 to 4 feet. And looking ahead to Friday, high pressure off the coast, so northwest breezes at about 15 the entire length of the coastline there, with seas running 6 to 7 feet. Inside waters, central and north, Lynn Canal, north 15 with seas running about 3 feet. Light northwest wind here over the southern interchannels at about 15 knots with slight seas. For Cook Inlet, light northerlies tomorrow, turning northeast there south of the Forelands. Southeasterlies 15 for the Barren Islands, up to 20 knots for the Kamishak Bay area. Southeasterlies at about 15 here across Kodiak Island. The seas running 7 to 3 feet, of course less than Shelikof Strait. For the North Gulf Coast, kind of a mixture of wind directions here. For the central areas, westerlies at 15 with seas at about 8 feet. Then for Friday, light variable winds here for all of the North Gulf Coast, 10 knots with 4 to 5 foot seas. Prince William Sound, light variable winds, 10 knots or less with seas pretty slight, and also slight seas here for northern Cook Inlet, as well as the areas south of the Forelands. Northeast breezes are variable to northeast at 10 or less, and southeasterlies continue here for the Barren Islands of Kamishak Bay at about 15 knots with 5 foot seas. Southerlies 15 on the east side of Kodiak Island, east to southeast 15 for Shelikof Strait. And for the Bristol Bay area, small craft advisories for southeasterlies 25 knots, and small craft advisories here for the Alaska Peninsula with those south to southwest winds 25 knots, seas running 8 to 12 feet. In the water southwest of Kodiak Island, south winds 25 knots with 9 foot seas. And for Friday, south to southeast here for the peninsula, 20 knots with 7 to 9 foot seas. Bristol Bay, lighter easterlies at 15, seas only 4 feet. And for the water southwest of Kodiak Island there from Sitkinak, say over to Chignik or Sand Point, southeasterlies at 20 knots with 9 foot seas. Out in the Aleutians, good gales tomorrow here, west-northwest, 40 knots, turning westerly, and then southwest gales here across Adak and Atka, and small craft advisories for southwest winds across the Fox Islands. And then for Friday, there we go, coming down below gale force out here over the far western zone. Otherwise, 35 knot northwesterlies for Adak and Atka. Small craft advisories for northwesterlies 25 to 30 knots for the Fox Islands. And for the southwest coast, southerly winds 20 to 25 knots with the highest winds here south of Nunivak Island with 8 foot seas. South 20 with 9 foot seas for the Pribilofs. Light southeasterlies here for St. Matthew Island, and then 30 knot southeast winds forecast there for St. Lawrence Island tomorrow. And then those will go light easterly on Friday. Light northeasterly winds here north of Nunivak Island, more of an easterly direction south of the island there. And the Pribilof's looking at northerlies at about 20 knots with 8-foot seas and 20-knot northerly winds for the waters near and to the west of St. Matthew Island. Up along the Arctic coast on the east side, southeast at about 20, but looking at 25-knot brisk wind advisories here for the eastern Beaufort Sea, or the central Beaufort Sea coast, and then the central Arctic coast, and south 15 there for Point Ley. And the west side southerlies at about 20, more of a southeast direction from Wales to Cape Thompson. And then for Wales to Cape Thompson on Friday, easterly winds at 20 knots, just 15 knots there to the north, and just 10-knot easterlies here for the western side of the coast, northeast 15 around Barrow. And then those winds gradually increasing as high as 30 knots here toward Demarcation Point from the east. For tonight, gales again, the wind and rain over the southern southeast coast, dry to the north, and then this front bringing winter weather advisory in from midnight until 6 a.m. tomorrow for the Kuskokwim Delta. Along the coast, 2 to 4 inches of snow expected, and got winter weather advisory also for the Kobuk Valley for, I think it was 4 to 6 inches of snow. That's for tonight through tomorrow and into tomorrow evening. And again, this front, parallel to the winds, not making much headway, just edges up to the coastline tomorrow, showers over the southern southeast coast, and then it begins to just fall apart here over the southwest interior with the main low center back to the west and the gusting winds back to the west of that, but pretty nice here over the interior and drying out over the southeast coast.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Cook Inlet Tug and Barge, a marine transportation company specializing in harbor services focusing on the Port of Anchorage and the major commercial participants in the Cook Inlet region, providing customers with marine services specifically tailored to their needs.